Hey, good evening, guys. How you all doing? Just adjust this 1 second. Hopefully I'm good to go. Something like that. Good to go. What's up, Rezio? Hello, Toxic, Marcus, Zach, Mick. Good evening, guys. How you doing? If you've been watching the stream the last few weeks, we are looking at Blade Guard Veterans tonight, and we'll just be chatting, we'll just be hanging out, and we do have a new video coming up on YouTube tomorrow, so we got that going on. And as always, we just chat, hang out, talk Blood Angels on a Thursday night. Hey, Douglas, I didn't see your message. How are you doing? Someone needs to stop this madman's win streak. Well, do you know what? My friend who is playing me on Monday night as Elder posted his list to me today. I haven't actually looked at it yet. Well, that's a lie. Like, I looked at it very, very quickly. I thought he had like a couple of Wave Serpents at least, a couple of squads of Dire Avengers, maybe like a couple of D cannons and stuff. So it's a bit of a different list than maybe we've seen historically on the channel. We haven't. Well, I don't think we've ever had D-Cannons from Eldar on the list, so will be cool to get a game up against the Eldar, so that's coming on Monday. So, and I don't know if they will stop my win streak. I mean, Eldar, they haven't had their codex yet, so they're kind of probably a little bit behind the curve, but it should be fun nonetheless. How did the game go? The game against Iron Hands went super well, Douglas. We got basically maximum points out of what we picked, right? The maximum you can get is 90 points. We got 85, and one of the secondaries I picked was Scramblers, so the maximum you can get from that is 10. So, kind of a safer pick, I guess, Scramblers. Like, if you're struggling, Scramblers can definitely be a safe pick. So, it was a safe pick, but maybe we didn't need to pick that safely because, yeah, we did get the full 85 out of the 85 available points. So, I don't know if Andrew played the super heavy as well as he could have, but the Sanguinary Guard did make a couple of great saves. I think we had to make 1 point. We had to make, I think it was 6 saves with the Sanguinary Guard, and they were all -3, and they were all a flat 3 damage. And we rolled so we needed 6 5-up saves. And we passed 5 of them, which was it was a pretty big moment in the game early on, and it kept like a load of my Sanguinary Guard alive when maybe they shouldn't have been alive, and then they proceeded to do a lot of work in that game. So it was funny because someone in the chat asked right before, they were like, how do you keep Sanguinary Guard alive? They're not very survivable. And I was like, yeah, you've got to hide them. They're not very good at all when they get focus fired and shot. And then I got the best saves I've ever rolled on the Sanguinary Guard on the very next minute. And I showed how to keep them alive, but definitely not what the person in chat asked. So it was a fun game nonetheless. I was a bit worried against the super heavy tank as well, right? Like, that macro cannon is actually kind of insane how many shots it gets. So we were talking last week on the stream about these capes, and I think I've decided that we're going to go with a darker red on the cape. So I'm just putting down like a coat of Mephiston red. I wasn't sure actually before I started the stream if we were going to try or what colours we're going to try, so I've got a few different colours laid out here. But you know what? Actually, after putting down the coat of Mephiston red, I'm actually feeling kind of happy about it, so I think we'll go with that. They're the Strayus, right? Yeah, the Strayus was the super heavy that he was running, and I actually thought it was pretty legit. If I had a spare $300 lying around and I guess like 2 months of free time, would I buy a Strayus? I think the answer is yes. One, it would look gorgeous as a Blood Angels Astraeus, because everything looks great in Blood Angels Red, right? Well, it's not Blood Angels. It used to be called Blood Angels Red, now it's called Mephiston Red or Evil Sun Scarlet. I mean, I guess you've got Blood Angels Contrast Red, but yeah, it would look great in Blood Angels, and I think it could, it seemed just as strong as the Falchion that I had been running. In fact, maybe even a little bit stronger than the falchion. You know, it's got extra wounds and it's got those void shields. And you don't have to pay martial legacy for it either. But it is like 45 points more. But generally, I liked it. I would have probably played it more defensively than Andrew played it. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. What size magnets do you use the Redemptor and Leviathan weapons? And the small Leviathan ones. Like, I think the small Leviathan ones, Mick, I used just like 1x1 millimeter magnets. Like, they were absolutely tiny. The Redemptor, I've got one of them right behind me here. So I think that's probably a 3mm magnet. I mean, if you, so I guess measure this part here, and do you know what? I've got a tape measure on my desk. Why am I being lazy? I will check. Do you know what? It's 4mm in diameter, that magnet that I've used for the Redemptor gun. So I'll probably use something similar for the Leviathan. If you use anything, maybe you get away with a 3, but I think if you went smaller, maybe you would, you might struggle a little bit with the weight. Good evening, Gitley. How you doing? Good evening, Mark. Hey, Martin. Just received my second shot. Congrats, man. It's nice to hear that people are getting vaccinated, and hopefully the world will be back to normal sooner rather than later, right? Because I'm sure everybody is sort of sick of the current restrictions. The current restrictions are still confusing as well, right? Here in Scotland, they're definitely confusing. I've tried having a look into them a few times, but like it's just generally confusing. Hey, good evening, Mike. How you doing? Working late doing product setups. And hey, Dolph. Good evening, man. How are you? All right, something funny is going on with the music because I told it. Maybe I have to click that. I don't know what's going on. Oh, it's like it's not. Alright, hold on. What is going on? Okay. I'm in bed at stupid o'clock for work. I know that feeling, man. I get up every day at 7 o'clock. I even get up at Saturdays at 7 o'clock, and like some nights you just have to crash, right? But needs must. I guess everybody has to go to work. Greetings, Marcel. I think I already said hello to you. How are you doing, Blood Angels Commander? Work and family doing okay, I hope. Yeah, I mean, my day job is busy, man. Really busy at the moment. It's been busy, I guess, for a good while during the pandemic. We did spend a little bit of time today, though, improving the setup. So we cable tied everything so that there's way less cables and nastiness hanging around in the room where we do our live games. We also moved the dice tray, so there's no glare on the dice tray anymore, so the dice should be a lot easier to see. And a new dice tray arrived today. So we have a new dice tray. I mean, you can actually see they're playing over on the Plastic Crackhead channel tonight, Andrew against Colin. So yeah, we improved. We got a new dice tray. We got a better camera setup for the dice. We got a banner so that the room doesn't look so horrible. So, and I think we've got some other slight improvements with the lighting. So a lot going on actually, and hopefully you guys will keep noticing like every week that the live stream or the live show can get slightly higher quality. Basically everything that we're making on the channel right now, we're investing into making it better. And what was really annoying is I went down today you know, to do a little bit of work on the live setup so it was better for our next game, and I had a delivery note from FedEx when I got home, and what the FedEx package is it's actually a bunch of pre-painted terrain that we got. we managed to do a deal with one of the distributors that does pre-painted terrain. So we basically got like money off of it and stuff, but we have to do like a product review for it. But I mean, that's fine. I'm happy to do a review for the channel if it means we got money off. So we got some new pre-painted terrain that was supposed to be coming tomorrow, but it got delivered a day early, and now I have to mess around with FedEx trying to get it sorted. And I've been checking the delivery every week, or every day. You know how that always happens when the one day you don't want something to arrive early is the one day it actually does arrive early. So, go figure. But yeah, I'm doing great, Mark. Thanks for asking. Hey, Adam. Is it crack or crack? It's crack spelt like crack grenade. So K-R-A-K. So if you search plastic crackheads, yeah, they're basically using the same setup that I use for my show on a Monday. And I guess since all the equipment's mine, I guess they're going to be, you know, they're helping out me with my show. And yeah, they're going to be doing their own little show as well. I think it's going to be every Thursday their show is, kicking off at like 7:30 till like 10. So I mean, if you've got time on Thursday and you want to watch a battle report before, because I always do hobby hangouts on Thursday nights. But yeah, so you could totally do that as well, I guess. You know, I hope they get more subs and stuff, because, you know, they'll help improve my show as well. So it's only nice to help them improve theirs, I guess. But yeah, the play on words is like crack, as in like, well, I guess it's a play on two words, isn't it? Crack, like you said, like what's the crack? You know, like what's cracking? So sort of like a play on the phrase of like what's cracking, or you know, like in Scotland, people definitely say to each other, "What's the crack?" and it just means like what's the gossip, what's the banter, that sort of thing. So it's a play on that, but I guess it's also a play on crack grenade, and it's also a play on the fact that like people call it plastic crack, right? As in like they're addicted to Warhammer, and some people like say it's like a drug addiction like crack. So it's actually kind of a play on three different things. I thought it was quite a clever name. I actually don't remember who came up with it, but yeah, I did think it was quite a clever name. I hate painting some of these cloaks and stuff when they're all difficult to get your brush strokes to, and you end up making a mess of places you've already painted. This is what happens when you're indecisive at the start and you can't decide what colour you're going to do something. I think these cloaks will look fine red after all, but I should have painted them earlier before I tried to do all this detail around them, because I've just wasted a bunch more time. But it happens. Don't do crack with a C, do crack with a K. Yeah, do crack grenades. Always remember to throw a crack grenade if you've got one guy left. Has anyone tried the flesh render grenades? Is it worthy? You know what? I've looked... Oh, thanks, Mick. I'm sure they'll appreciate your subscription. I've looked at the flesh render grenades a few times. Yeah, it's you know, it's certainly interesting. It just seems to me like typically you only ever really get to throw a grenade like once, maybe twice a battle or something. It's not usually something that comes up every turn, you know, because of the very short range of them. So based on that, I'd probably say it's not a worthy relic, you know, like, but yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Maybe if you had the character in a rhino or something, and or an impulsor. Yeah, I don't know. I've never picked it, but I have looked at it a few times and thought, you know what, that doesn't seem so bad. You know, I think it's strength 5, I think it's -3, it's like 2 damage, right? So yeah, on paper it doesn't look too bad at all, but like, I just think that typically you're not going to get to use it that often. I always leave the base off when I'm painting. Yeah, my problem is that I always end up playing with models before they're finished, and I'm always changing my army. Like, I actually, even though the army list... How long are we into the stream? Sweepstake for how long before I mention win streak? I was going to say, even though my army is on a 7-game win streak, I am thinking about some changes, and the changes would mean I actually have two different sets of changes that I'm thinking about. One is HQ changes and one is elite changes, and both those changes are probably in a half painted state as well. So those models will have been used to play games before. They're definitely not finished. So again, I'll just be in the same situation where, like, maybe if I just focused on one model or one group of guys at a time, but like, I'm always chasing the strongest list I can make. In 8th edition, I actually, at the end of 8th edition, for the longest time in 8th edition, I didn't run scouts. And near the end of the end of 8th edition, I sort of finally broke down and was like, right, I just need to run 2 battalions full of scouts. And I spent ages painting up these scouts. Like, I think I painted 30 scouts. I was really happy, and I was like, right, yes, here's a really strong list with, like, a shed load of scouts in it. And then guess what? It turns out that they were like, yeah, okay, you don't need to use scouts anymore for for battalions. And I was like, oh my god, I just spent so much time painting all these damn scouts. As someone who only builds and paints this stuff, I gotta ask, why do you choose such a weird greenish gold light instead of undercoating it with bronze? A weird greenish light gold. This gold is this is Retributor gold, man, and it's sprayed over Chaos Black. I mean, like, if you look in behind here, like where the gold spray didn't take too well, you can see just down there, like in above those pouches, that it's like, it's black with, like, I guess I would call it like gold peppering, in that, like, is Retributor gold a weird greenish gold? I mean, I always start with the Retributor gold. I mean, I've always used it on my Sanguinary Guard and everything. And then what I do is, once I've got all the rest of the model painted, I'll wash all the gold with, like, Reichland Flesh Shade, and that'll change it to very much like you said, like a bronzy gold, with a hint of red through it, which I actually genuinely really like. But yeah, I mean, so I guess, like, I probably would agree with you. Like, if I didn't wash these guys down, they would look too bright. But I mean, I guess everybody's got their own take on it, or their own plan on how they get their gold the way that they do. So, by all means, cut. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Please tell me how you do gold. But yeah, Retributor gold sprayed over black is where I start. That's horrific. Getting into that section there is horrendous. I don't have to touch up all that brown afterwards. And the silver. I'll probably leave it and do 2 coats of this red on their capes, though. Hey Matt, how you doing? Ding ding ding, win streak confirmed. Yeah, win streak is definitely confirmed. I was actually down, I was in the office today where our setup is for games, and I was speaking to Andrew and Colin, and I was basically saying that so next week I've got Eldar, or Monday night I'm playing Eldar. And then the week after that I'm going to play Necrons, and I've asked Andrew to bring a really OBSEC heavy list, right? Because we know that my list has 1 OBSEC unit in it, and no way to change or deny OBSEC, no rights of war, no visage of death, nothing like that. And a lot of people take, though, like when we do the army list show, a lot of people include visage of death, a lot of people include rights of war. So I want to fight like a fully OBSEC Necron army, with all the bells and whistles of them, with all their OBSEC, their units count for double OBSEC in some places, or so 1 model counts as 2. So pretty much, like, the only way I'm controlling objectives against that list is if I'm killing him on the objectives. I'm never going to control it by having models on it if he's got models on it. So my thought was, make that game number 9 to see how the list goes up against a list that's very heavily OBSEC when obviously we have no OBSEC. And then game number 10, I think, was to replay Colin on his Death Guard when he isn't so damn tired. Because although we did beat the Death Guard convincingly, I think it was convincingly, and I have beaten the Death Guard the last 4 times I've played, twice in 8th edition and twice in 9th edition. So, I mean, we know what the Death Guard can do and we kind of know how we counter them. But Colin was saying that there's a Death Guard contagion that halves movement speed. So he was thinking he was going to use that to make things difficult for me. Which I'm all for, right? Because at that point it'll be like the list will have won 9 games in a row, and if it could beat the Death Guard, then it would be 10 wins in a row. So what I was saying to Colin was like, yeah, bring the nastiest list you can bring all these things like that half my movement and make things generally very difficult, and let's see if this list can make 10 wins in a row. And I mean, Andrew would like to beat me on his Necrons, don't get me wrong. Andrew actually asked me this week, he was like, what do I have to do to beat you? And I was like, we were talking about the Iron Hands game a little bit, and I was saying like, I think your Iron Hands list was maybe stronger when it had like 2 Leviathans, and I think that's what he's playing up tonight, right? Like I definitely saw he'd Sicarians and Leviathans in his list tonight rather than the Astreus. So yeah, we'll just keep going and we'll keep plugging away and keep trying to get victories and see what happens. Does anyone use Liberator Gold? I do not use Liberator Gold. I have one other gold, I think it's called like Auric Gold or something like that. But honestly, I might even have like Geltazar's Gold, I think, which is an Age of Sigmar colour. But yeah, no, I don't use any of them. I just Retributor Gold, and then once the rest of the model is painted, I will wash the entire model with Reichland Flesh Shade. I won't wash the entire model. I'll wash all the gold sections with Reichland Flesh Shade, and I'll try and make sure it doesn't pool anywhere. So it gives you sort of that ready bronze gold, and I generally like it quite a lot. I guess the camera or my screen, the gold looks like it has the green tint. I usually use Balthazar gold and then overbrush Retributor board before watching with Agrax. I mean, I guess we probably get a similar tint maybe when we're finished. I can grab a finished model if you want to see what that looks like, Kat. Give me just 1 second to get some of this red that I'm painting horrifically into all the wrong places off this model. Yeah, let me grab a finished one. But yeah, so I mean that's what they look like finished compared to the gold that we have now. So yeah, that's just Reichland Flesh Shade pretty much washed over the Retributor gold. And I guess when you say the what should we call it? I mean, it's very simple to get like a bronzy gold effect, I find. And my paint schemes are generally pretty simple, I'd say. If anyone has questions, I'm more than happy to ask what I do, but like I'm just painting battle ready. Like I'm not the most amazing painter. I'm much more concerned about getting the wins on the tabletop than what my painting looks like. But at the same time, I want to make the models look decent at least, right? Warsmith Chris says he does the same. I think it could be my lighting here. I have 2 lights. One, obviously, if you see my face here, there's like I'm all washed out, right? This light over here is like crazy bright. I don't know if I can pull it into shot, maybe. No, but like if I can bring it close, you can see how just crazy bright that light is. So I've got that light that's sort of like maybe it's a little bit washing out some of the colours. and then I have another light like right in front of me as well, and it's like an LED. Do you know what? I can flick it so you can see. Like, so there's another like LED bar in here. So maybe it's just washing out some of the colors, or it's adding a bit of a tinge. But yeah, I assure you that this is just. I just spray these models Chaos Black. Case in point, actually, look, I got a guy here from the other day. What's this? A Sanguinary Guard with an Infernal Pistol and a sword. So that's him sprayed Chaos Black. I'm just waiting to spray him with Retributor Gold next, and then I move to I don't have an airbrush or anything like that. So after that, it's just hand painted. But I've been doing these guys, these Blade Guard now for probably like 2 or 3 weeks on the hobby hangouts. Right, I haven't been painting anything else. I'm generally really slow at painting. I make a lot of mistakes and I go back and forth a lot, and I do multiple coats of everything. So, you know, it takes me a long time to get somewhere, but yeah, this is what this is. I still refuse to use JW metallics. They're just so bad, so very, very bad. I mean, I guess I've just always been using them, Gitly. So, it's hard if you've been using a paint scheme and you want everything to match, right? It's hard to switch, I guess. So, if you've not started, maybe I'd be okay with like picking another brand or another scheme. But because I've been doing everything for so long with GW paints, I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm trapped, but I guess I probably am. Or, you know, and I actually have a huge collection of GW paints. I probably have like 50 or 60, so it's probably like £100 of paints. So it'd be quite a lot to just throw them all away and be like, nah, screw it, I'm gonna go with something else. Finished my land speeder today. Spent far too much time on it. I don't mind spending a lot of time on the models, right? If you get to a point where you're really pleased with how they look and they look great on the battlefield, you know, and you've spent a lot of time on them. I also sometimes have problems finishing models, right? Where it's like you're not sure if they're finished, or you're not happy, and you keep going back and you keep going back, and then at some point you just have to be like, right, this guy is done, put him down and move on. So I have problems with that as well, because I feel like I'm a perfectionist, but I'm also not I'm not the strongest painter. So I guess those two things don't go well together. And yeah, whoever said don't put the bases on these is a genius, because that would help me so much right now. Do you know what? Models with big giant shields like these guys are a pain in the arse to paint as well, because the giant shield gets in the way like all the time. So maybe I should have magnetized these giant shields, but I guess because they're sort of the easy build Indomitus ones, I never bothered. What's your view on heavy intercessors as backfield objective holders? I like heavy intercessors, Josh. I actually have 5 of them. I bought the Dark Pariah thing. I actually sprayed the heavy intercessors white to do red, and I sprayed the captain that came with them black to put them in the Death Company. But I like the heavy intercessors as backfield objective holders. I mean, the units in Gravis armor, they're generally pretty survivable. I like the executioner rifles on the heavies as well, right? Because it's like they've got 42-inch range. They're strength 5, they're -2, they're 2 damage. So if you can get them like holding an objective and maybe like in a reasonably defensive position to get like +1 to their save and stuff, I think you could do some real work with those heavy intercessors. And you know, there's also the option to maybe even consider something like Quake bolts on them, right? To give them that the ability to hit enemies and make your close combat units get you know, like a 2-hit bonus to them when they charge and attack them. So I mean, they're 140 points, which I think is the only limiting thing about them. The list I've got at the moment, you know, I'd kind of like to fit them in. I just can't. I just do not have enough points for them. But yeah, I mean, in general, I think I quite kind of like the heavy intercessors. I got no problems with them. I know some people say that they might be better on other factions, not Blood Angels or other chapters rather. But I think they're fine for us as well. I would use them. I've actually proxied them a couple of times as well. Like, this is a few months ago now, but when I proxied them, I generally thought, like, yeah, they're pretty useful. I definitely prefer them to any sort of regular intercessors, be it assault or just regular intercessors, right? Death Guard have a 6-inch fight last aura as well he should use. Yes, they definitely do have a 6-inch fight last aura, and I think they've got a relic as well that does something like fight last Warmaster Crisp. So, a bit late to the gold party, but I like Retributor Gold shaded with Seraphim Sepia, and then a slight wash of watered down Balthazar Gold over it really gives a rich tone. Yeah, that's probably a pretty good combo as well, Adam. That's kind of similar to what I'm doing here. Maybe you're just taking it like one step a little bit further. Have I not opened this pot of paint? I thought I had. Maybe not. Okay. Brass Scorpion Gold is nice too. Yeah, I don't actually... I use Brass Scorpion, but... I don't... Brass Scorpion Gold? What is... I thought Brass Scorpion was more like a bronze colour. A base of Mournfang before putting Retributor down works really well too. Yeah, I mean, I like the Chaos Black, but I'm sure that Mournfang works quite well too. Oh, this paint is like super runny. Okay. I think your paint looks fine. Any tips versus Knights? I got my ass whooped by 3 in a 2,500 point game vs Knight in Admech. Greetings, Highland. How you doing? Yeah, I mean... Fighting against Knights, you really need to focus them down. You know, like, make sure you're killing... like, make sure you're not leaving models with wounds alive. And then, I guess the issue with Knights and stuff like that is... I'm not liking the sound this pot of paint is making. Like, is it just really separated? Maybe I gotta shake this for like a few more minutes. Brass Scorpion is a layer, but you can easily paint with it. Hey Rickety, how you doing? Tips against Knights. I mean, the thing about Knights, I suppose, is they're very much like the super heavy tank that I fought this week, right? You need to be able to engage them in combat quickly because... and when you do engage them in combat, you really need to be prepared to kill them, or at least really heavily bracket them in a single turn. Like if you only think you're going to do a few wounds, then it's almost not worth making the charge, right? Because you'll get murdered in the rebound or whatever you want to call it, the fight back phase. So this paint is like crazy lumpy. What the hell is going on? I think I've got enough of it shooked out though, so we can at least paint with some of it. Yeah, I need to know as well, like, Kara's Michael. I guess like we need to know, or you need to, like, are you running a balanced list? Are you running a full melee focused list? Like, what does your list look like? Because I think that's going to be important as well. Like right now, I actually have a video coming out tomorrow. That's gonna. The video is focused on the laser destroyer to begin with, because one of our members asked that, or asked for a video on the laser destroyer. But at the same time, we're going to talk a lot about, you know, top tier picks and top tier units in tomorrow's video. So. Maybe that's something you need to check out when I release it tomorrow. Kara's Michael, but yeah, I mean, you probably always also want to try and play around them, right? Because like the enemy gets what, like 3 models, so you should be able to outscore them on like primaries and secondaries. Definitely if you're smart. So I'd probably try and pick secondaries that maybe you don't need to be killing the knights. You just need to be surviving or holding objectives or something like that, and try and keep up with them score wise. And then if you can, make a couple of important kills and weaken them out that way. I mean, that's probably how I would. That's probably how I would set myself up if I was playing against knights. I'm thinking about the heavy intercessors a bit too expensive and one-dimensional in Blood Angel's army. Just like in Cursors, so much better as troops. Yeah, I mean, I don't run in Cursors, I run infiltrators myself. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I think the heavy intercessors are one-dimensional. Like, I like them. But I like knowing that my backfield is pretty secure, and I think that's something that they do pretty well, right? Because they're going to have 15 wounds and they're going to be toughness 5. If you put them in cover, they're going to be on a 2-up save. So I think they're going to be very, like if you put them in the backfield, you can be pretty confident your backfield's going to be in a decent shape, I guess. More so than you would be if you have like in Cursors back there. And sometimes, like I in just this week's game against Iron Hands, I had infiltrators basically sit out in my deployment zone the entire game, and they really didn't, it's 120 points, and they really didn't do much, because when they actually got to shoot a couple of times, only 1 or 2 of them were in range, and when they did shoot, it's AP -0. So I think that, like, if you think about spending 120 points for infiltrators for that, and even if you were paying 105 points for incursors for that, it's probably overcosted. So, like, would spending 30 or more points on heavy intercessors that could maybe shoot every turn with strength 5 -2 be a better option? I kind of feel like it would be. But I mean, it doesn't always go that simply on the table, right, Reziel? In that, like, there could be no targets to see, there could be line of sight blocking. There's a lot of variables that that analogy doesn't bring to the table, I guess. But I think it's something definitely worth thinking about. Just got into Blood Angels. Any tips for a newbie? I mean, well, you're in the right place. We have a Discord, Ricket, and we also have a Facebook group, and you can join both of them. You'll find the links in the video description. And we're always helping people out. If you want to build your first lists, which you probably do if you want to know what to buy. I mean, like I recently did a video on the top 10 HQ choices for Blood Angels. I did a video on the top 10 unit choices. And these are like competitive units. So if you wanna get into the game and straight away be reasonably competitive on the table, then I mean, just search the channel for those videos and buy stuff based on those videos. If you want to just play and have fun and you don't care about being competitive, then I guess like you can literally pick anything that you like the look of in the Space Marine Codex or the Blood Angels Codex. Buy it, paint it, and if you want to know more, I mean, just keep watching the videos on the channel. There was one video I did called Blood Angels 101. So I think if you go onto YouTube and search that, Blood Angels 101, and I guess if you're not in 101, usually, I think it's an American term actually. We don't actually use it much here in Britain, but 101 is like an introduction. It's like the first class you would get, right? If you did like English 101, it would be your first class on English. So I did a video called Blood Angels 101, and there's like a lot of information in there for new players, and I guess also there's a bit of information in there about secondaries and stuff like that as well. So if you want to check that out, obviously you can check it out whenever. 9 bikes: Bike Chaplain, Derridale Dread, Ball Predator, Sanguinary, Librarian Dread, Regular Dread, 6 Sanguinary Guard, 10 Assault Intercessors, 5 Intercessors, Blood Priest, and Jump Pack Shield Boys. When you say 9 bikes, what do you mean? Do you mean regular Space Marine bikers? I assume you don't mean attack bikes, or do you mean attack bikes? Did I just do that? Did I just put a huge bit of gold across the back of his... Oh, I don't know. Grab the gold paint and fix that. That's annoying. Take 2 Vindicator laser destroyers and have a tech marine near to buy. Take hunter killer missiles for them and reroll a wound rather than a hit if you have a CP spare. Yeah, I guess we'll see all about Vindicator laser destroyers tomorrow, Highland. I already made the video, it's already all uploaded, so it'll be coming out about lunchtime tomorrow, and it's about 20 minutes. I ended up speaking quite a bit more than I thought. Like, I thought I didn't actually have that many slides, but yeah, I ended up speaking loads more about heavy support choices and Blood Angels armies a little bit in general, I think. So hopefully you enjoy the video tomorrow. I think it's going to be one of my better ones, so hopefully you like it. While your gold looks so crisp, I've been using Retributor mainly for washing with Gullum and Flesh, and it's a so-so end result. Maybe I'll try some Edge Heightling or layering with Liberator gold. I mean, I generally just do what I said, which was like just Chaos Black spray, then Retributor gold spray. Sometimes after I've done the gold spray, I might touch it up a little bit in places, right? Because you know yourself, when you do a spray coat, you don't always get 100% perfect coat. So sometimes I'll touch it up myself, and then after that, I just wash it with Reichland Fleshshade. Basically wash the whole model. So nothing too complicated at all. I mean, I think it gets a decent result. I try and make sure that the paint doesn't pool anywhere, and if it does pool anywhere, what I actually do is I just mix a little bit of Retributor again with the Fleshshade on my palette and try and just paint it over it, like really lightly and gently, and usually I find that it actually sort of can remove the pooling reasonably well, so it's kind of like a hack, I guess. So maybe my paint jobs are a bit hack, but yeah, no, I think they come along. Highland says, definitely in the right channel. Watch Blood Angels Commander's top stratagem video too. Oh yeah, that people generally really like the top stratagem video. Yeah, we're always doing something every week on the channel to try and make it, I guess, easier to be a solid Blood Angels player. If you haven't subscribed yet, Rick, consider doing that, because you know that's what this channel is all about. It very much started with me doing just videos on Blood Angels kit bashes, and then we moved into Blood Angels tactics, and now occasionally we do modeling stuff. Most of my modeling stuff I just do live, like hanging out like this, but very occasionally we do put up another modeling video, and more often than not we're either playing games as Blood Angels or we're talking about tactics for Blood Angels, and we're just generally trying to help other people with all the things we've learned, I guess. In your opinion, how well can you adapt your tactics to Flesh Tearers lists? I mean, I think reasonably easily, right? The only real difference with the Flesh Tearers is you don't get the +1 to advance, which I think is the +1 to advance and charge, which I think is arguably one of our strongest points, though, right? I mean, Flesh Tearers do get some neat tricks, and they do get an additional AP. They do get a Terminator that can advance then charge. They do have Seth, who can fight twice. So the Flesh Tearers aren't without strength, don't get me wrong. And I generally quite like Flesh Tearers as well. I have considered running my list as a Flesh Tearers a couple of times. But my issue, I think, is that yeah, the Red Thirst rule is just super strong. The +1 to charge. The amount of times I would have failed a charge, but I make it because of that +1. I mean, it happens in pretty much every game, or every second game. There's like 2 failed charges that would have happened, but because of our +1, they're both successful charges. And yeah, I just think that it's such a strong chapter tactic. So Flesh Tearers are good. And like, if you want to run a Flesh Tearers list, or you want me to review a Flesh Tearers list, I'm more than happy to do it. But am I running Flesh Tearers? No, I think I think that the Blood Angels are. You know, I recently read a thing from Goonhammer saying that we were tier 3, or we were low tier 2, or we're tier 3 or something, and it's like, I don't feel like we're tier 3. I feel like our codex wasn't that strong, sure, but I think combined with all the powers from the Space Marine codex, I still think we're in a pretty solid spot, and like, I mean, I'm beating I'm still beating all my friends in every game, and hopefully. I'm kind of thinking that hopefully by seeing how I'm beating people in every game, hopefully you guys are learning something so you can also beat people in every single game. And like people can say, oh, Blood Angels are tier 2 or tier 3, and we can say, well, sure, that's fine if you want to buff us, but we're still beating people in every single game anyway. And I actually just got linked by Mark, I think. Mark linked me I think a Blood Angels actually just won a tournament this week, and if they did, then I haven't done a video for a competitive army list series for a few weeks. So if there's a tournament winning Blood Angels list that's just if there's a large tournament that Blood Angels have just won, then I for sure will do a video on that, and you'll be able to we'll talk over the tournament list, why it was strong, why do I think it won. Is there improvements that could be made? Because we always do that as well. And those are kind of fun videos for me to make. And I will do one on my list as well if we get to 10 wins in a row. We'll probably do one as well even if we only get to 9 wins in a row. But that's that. Outriders. I don't rate Outriders. I don't know why I'm trying to calling you Christian, Michael. Michael. I don't rate Outriders at all. I don't run them. I don't think they get enough attacks. They're just chain swords, which, chain swords are average at best. Like, chain swords got buffed, but I still don't like. If you're running into toughness 8 knights and stuff, then chain swords are not going to do anything. It feels like you'd be much better off with Vanguard veterans with lightning claws, due to the reroll on the wounds. And the other thing that, I just don't know about Outriders. I tried to run them a few times myself, and like I just don't run them, period, at all. I didn't list them in the top 10 Blood Angels units. I mean, I don't even think they were close to the top 10. I know some people really. I mean, they're cool models. Don't get me wrong, and I know some people have run Outriders quite a bit and seen some success with them. But do you know what? When we actually... So I've been doing a series called Competitive Army Lists. And there's a series on the channel. If you go to the front page of the Blood Angels Commander channel, you will see a playlist called like Competitive Army Lists. And these are lists that are basically winning tournaments or placing high in tournaments. And we've looked at 4 lists. I think a couple were like winning tournament lists. One was like a Goonhammer list, and the other one was like a 3rd place finish list. None of those lists, if I remember correctly, are running Outriders. So, like the top players literally aren't picking them. And if the top players aren't picking them, then that says something about their strength, right? Because top players pick things that are strong. Nobody wins a tournament by just picking tactical marines, I would guess. So, I guess based on that, I'd probably say, Michael, you need to rethink your Outriders. I think I have 6 or 9 of them, and none of them see the board. And I actually, I talk a lot about win streaks and stuff on this channel. Right before lockdown, I was actually on like a 10-game winning streak as well. So in the last 18 games I've played as Blood Angels, 17 of which I have won on the channel, none of them have included Outriders. Like, I don't even know if the Outriders are in my mind. But that's, you can probably make some Outriders work. I'm not sure you can make 9 of them work though. Like, you could maybe get away with a squad of them. Like, you don't have to always take just what the most competitive thing is. Like, I run Centurions in my current list, and Centurions are definitely not being picked by top competitive players. I just run them because I've wanted Centurions for a long time, and I thought I could make them work in the list, and I've kind of managed to fit them in. So you could probably do something like that with Outriders as well, where like if you really like your Outrider models, you did a spanking paint job on them, you really want to include them, then I think you probably can, but probably not 500 points to them. Maybe like a squad of 3. Any thoughts on Monday's game against Iron Hands? Was a bit of an odd Iron Hands list. Let me see. I think I missed some other questions. I think on paper, Heavy Intercessors look interesting for some other chapters, but even then, you look up oncoming metas, and they're tailored to kill Gravis and are fast. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Heavy Intercessors can work. Maybe they're not the most competitive choice, but I don't know if anyone's really been running them enough to make that call, right? And maybe I'll make a list in the future that includes a bunch more Heavy Intercessors. One sec. Because I do like the Heavy Intercessors. I mean, they look cool, and the Gravis models generally are quite survivable. So I definitely want to try them out at least. Was curious if you can weigh in on the Blood Angels Leviathan Dreadnought being no longer available on the Forge World website. Do you think it'll make a return anytime soon? I do, actually, H Ward. I think the Blood Angels, I don't think they discontinued that Dreadnought. I think they're having issues with COVID and getting products and stock and stuff out. And I think there's been a big demand for Games Workshop stuff during COVID, right? Because like people have nothing else to do or nothing to spend their money on. So I generally think I think a lot of models will come back in stock. I don't know if they've removed the Leviathan Dreadnought, right? Like I heard that it wasn't available in America for a while, but it was still available in the UK. So I think it's just a case of stock issues with that Leviathan, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I don't work for Games Workshop. I certainly can't speak for them. But if you ask me what my opinion of that is, I really do think that model is... I don't think it's discontinued. I think it was one of the most popular Leviathan Dreadnoughts. I think it will reappear at some point, probably in the not too distant future, probably just once the whole mess that is COVID is kind of past and behind us. Haven't played since 3rd edition, was feeling pretty lost on how to play Blood Angels before I found this channel. Finally got around to joining Patreon so could show some support. Keep up the great content. Thank you, Richard, so much for the support. And yeah, I mean, definitely don't feel lost. If you haven't submitted an army list as well, for a live show every Sunday, even if you can't make the show, you can always watch the replay. So if you have a list or something that you're working towards, please, by all means, get it together and submit it. And as a member, you get much improved list review time, because I basically make the queue shorter for members, so members get a bit of priority on the weekly show. So thank you for the support; it's much appreciated. And yeah, any questions you have, like. I spend a lot of time every week working on YouTube videos, I'm not going to lie, and I probably amn't quite as active in the Discord as some of the other mods and some of the other people are, but if you're struggling with questions, please put them in the Discord, because if I can't answer them, there's amazing other people in this community that will answer them for you. They're just as knowledgeable as me, they're super easy to talk to, they're always around in Discord, so if you've... Yeah, definitely don't feel lost. And you know what I do, and when I have time, I do always check in on the Discord. I want to say that I probably check or speak to people in Discord at least like probably 10 times a week or more, right? Like I do generally try and make sure that I am checking, and the Facebook group, because we have a Facebook group as well. I'm probably a little bit more active in Discord than I am in the Facebook group, but I do try and make sure that I'm checking that as well. So yeah, appreciate the support, man. And if there's like it's a difficult hobby to get into sometimes. And when you actually come down to the army rules and stuff, there's a lot of bloody rules to these games. Even on live stream, like, so I'm playing a live game in front of all you guys. I still get corrected on the stream, people will be like, hey John, you can't do that. And I'm like, oh shit, my bad, so I don't know. And this is, this is me who plays every week. So if I play every week and I'm not up on everything, it can be quite difficult. Other questions we got. Highland says, thoughts on Monday's game against Iron Hands? It was an odd list. So I think Andrew could have done a lot better with that super heavy tank. And the super heavy tank was devastating. When it shot me, I mean, one turn I made really good saves against it, right? But in the first turn, it shot all my bikes off the table in turn 1, and then it basically shot a dreadnought down to like 2 or 3 wounds as well in turn 1, right? So basically killed like 2 of my top anti-armor things in the very first turn without even breaking a sweat. If I was him, I would have played it way more defensively. I would have sat it back out of like my charge range for an additional turn probably. And if he'd unloaded the whole tank on me again for another turn, that would have been pretty scary, I guess. Like it was able to do a ton of damage, same as my Falchion, I guess, when I used to run that list, right? However, I think you're right. The rest of his list was basically, he wanted to use the big tank as a distraction in a fire base, and he wanted to pick basically drop pods and librarians to try and cap out on that. Not relentless assault, line breaker really quickly. Now, I think one of the reasons he picked that Highland was, I've actually taken Relentless Assault in like the last 3 games on the live stream. And I've taken it in those 3 games because I thought it was a good choice, right? In one of the games it was like up against a Death Guard list that I knew had literally nothing was going to deep strike. So I was like, right, this Death Guard list is going to have nothing that deep strikes. So I just need to drop like my Lightning Claw Vanguard Vets into his deployment zone. I can probably, one turn I can do Scramblers. I'll be in his deployment zone anyway, so I'll be able to get my Relentless Assault points, and then on another turn I can charge whatever he's got holding that backfield objective, probably like Plague Marines, and get like a lot of points out of it. And we did just that, right, in that game. And in another game, I think against Andrew, I've played Andrew quite a lot recently, and I don't always remember exactly what his lists were or what battle it was, but I definitely played Relentless Assault. I think it was against his, do you know what, I think it was against his Sisters of Battle. And again, I just used the Vanguard veterans on their own in his deployment zone to score like a good number of points in that game. So I think Andrew knew that that Relentless Assault is one that I sometimes take, but the thing is, like, I'm only going to take Relentless Assault if I think I can score a lot of points. If I know you have a lot of deep strikers and it's on a map with like big spread out deployment zones that I can't screen, then I'm probably not going to take Relentless Assault, right? And I think he went into that game with a tactic of denying me the Relentless Assault almost too early. Like his list was tailored to do just that, and it was like, but I'm only going to do that if it benefits me, right? So yeah, maybe it was a bit of a funny game, but I do think he was too aggressive with a super heavy tank, and I think if he'd stayed back one more turn and it had another round of firing, things could have been a bit different. I'm not saying that maybe he would have won the game, but things could have definitely been a bit different for him. When he got the super heavy tank profiled in turn 1, I mean, at that point I was kind of breathing a sigh of relief a little bit, because I know how difficult and nasty it can be to fight up against a super heavy tank. You know, I used the Falchion a lot of games and won a lot of games in a row with it. I've had to compensate for the charge with the Chaplain litany. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're probably right, Zacharias. If you're gonna take Flesh Tearers, then you probably want to take Cancel of Hate. I guess it's probably quite a high value pick for them, and I'm trying to think of the other advantages of Flesh Tearers. I mean, bar the odd unique relic or Seth, I'm not actually sure what they bring that's better than Blood Angels right now. I mean, they bring something a little bit different, and maybe you want to be different, but in terms of strength, I'm not sure what they're really bringing that Blood Angels aren't bringing. Because, I mean, like, one additional AP on a roll of a 6, you know, to me that kind of feels lackluster. I mean, especially if you talk about units like Sanguinary Guard that are already -4, there's not going to be a huge difference between -4 and -5 if you have to roll. Do you think a Blood Angels list must have a fight last option, such as the Whirlwind, or can it get by without it? I think if you want to be competitive, Adam, you need the Whirlwind or something of that nature. I think the Whirlwind is actually a really, really solid pick right now. And yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely part of the reason that I've been winning so many games. It causes the enemy like a lot of problems, especially like if you're up against. Well, I mean, this week it stopped the Strayus firing Overwatch, which was probably pretty huge because I would guess with heavy 12, strength 8, flat 3 damage, you're going to be killing models in Overwatch, and that's just one of its guns, right? And then I guess a few weeks ago, against the Tyranids, it really stopped, you know, like a lot of close combat potential. It was really good denial there. Against Mortarion, you know, it stopped him fighting first. I think the Whirlwind is worth its weight in gold. I just think you almost need to think of the Whirlwind like it's not a damage dealer. It will not do damage, right? I think the best game I've had, the Whirlwind killed like 3 Poxwalkers, or maybe, you know, maybe 5 Poxwalkers, but like the Whirlwind is not going to kill anything, but what it's going to do is it's going to really disrupt the enemy's fight phase, and that's primarily why you take it. And do I think it's important? Yeah, I mean, I think it's super important right now. I just want Drukhari crush Dark Angels, and it looks bad for Marines. Going to have to be creative. Yeah, I haven't got a chance to fight up against Drukhari yet, Reziel, but we'll see what we can do. I'd like to fight them, and I know that it's going to be difficult. I mean, Drukhari, I think Goonhammer had rated them pretty low in terms of tier, but I think their new book is going to have really pushed them back up. Without the Space Marine Codex, I think we'd be in trouble. Our Codex does feel lackluster compared to the recent redos. Yeah, I would agree with that, right? I mean, I guess like half of our strength is coming from the Space Marine Codex, which maybe means like if we'd been later in the Codex chain or whatever, like we would have had even more strength. But you know what, like Death Guard already have that like Book of Rust, and they have some new rules coming. So if every other codex comes out and makes everybody stronger than us, I'm sure we'll get another buff. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I just focus on like what can we do at the moment to stay competitive, I think is the way to look at it. Highland. Everything we do is nasty. We'll fight it anyway. Yeah, I mean, I actually still think Death Guard are one of the scariest. The -1 toughness is absolutely no joke. It just means like once you start fighting Death Guard into the later turns of the game, it's like everything he's got is like wounding you super easy. It's generally very, very scary. And then Admech, I guess, look like they're getting buffs to their shooting. I actually saw a video from Auspex Tactics about some of their basically their las cannons are becoming assault weapons, and I just put a comment. I was like, I didn't think Admech needed a shooting buff, and like loads of people were like, yeah, Admech didn't need a buff. So I mean, I guess we've got that coming out as well. And you know what, Gav, one of my friends that's actually on that Plastic Crackhead channel, is building an Admech list for the Team Scotland. So maybe we can get his Scottish team list up on the channel, and we'll see how we do against it with our Blood Angels. Obviously, once they get their new book, which I don't think is far away as well either, right? Although I don't think it's just simple power creep, this just spokes of interactions above and beyond what most Marines can match. I think Necrons may weather it better. Outriders are a waste of points compared to attack bikes or interceptors. Dawn of War stream when, says Robert White. So I was thinking Friday night would be my gaming stream night, Robert. And typically I don't do anything new, like, because I always put out the weekly tactics video on a Friday. So Friday night I kind of just chill. So I was thinking Friday night we could maybe do random gaming streams. And obviously at the moment, yes, we're playing Dawn of War. But I mean, I guess we'll advance to other games and stuff as well, I'm sure. I forgot to say Scala Pro. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. He has started posting videos again. He's a fellow Blood Angels player and other armies like Dukari. His brother is Mordian Glory. Go sub to his channel. Okay, well, I mean, I can check out another Blood Angels channel would be cool. And I guess if he's got some Dukari content, maybe we can watch it and get some ideas of what we're going to have to face up against. Wanted to say thank you for the constant content schedule. Your videos were one of the main contributors for me getting into 40k. I've got uni tomorrow, so gotta go, but can't wait to the next video. Oh, you're welcome, H Ward. We're always putting out some sort of content here, so I'm glad you found the channel. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I was watching Nick. What is it with you guys all having crazy names? I'm like the worst at pronouncing names. Like, literally the absolute worst. So a couple of top players forget rules as well, yeah. I wasn't actually sure that... the rule that got me this week was I was trying to work out if you could use counter-offensive when you use suppression fire, but I checked and there was an FAQ basically saying you cannot counter-offensive against the whirlwind suppression fire, which actually just proves how great that whirlwind suppression fire is, because it means that even if they have CP saved for interrupting, it just doesn't matter. So it's another reason that, you know, the whirlwind is better than an interrupt. The whirlwind is so good right now, I love it. But it doesn't do any damage, so if you can get over the fact that it doesn't do any damage, then it's an absolute great model to include in your list. And it's very rare that you take a model that literally does no damage. I mean, I guess we kind of do it a little bit with the Sangori Priest, but hey, this week my Sangori Priest killed some guys, eh? He finished off a squad of, was it 3 intercessors by himself and tabled... He actually got the killing blow that tabled Andrew, right? So go Sangori Priest with a default chainsword. Like, who needs the Teeth of Terror on the Sangori Priest, huh? The Libby Iron Hand build was so weird. Not sure that was efficient for an army for Iron Hand. Surely there's better secondaries. Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. I think he had a plan that he wanted to stop me doing Relentless Assault, but I probably wasn't going to go all in on Relentless Assault against a list like that with a super heavy tank. I felt like I had to kill... So in that list he had like 3 main damage dealers, right? He had the Terrax, he had the super heavy tank, and he had the Ironclad Dreadnought. So I kind of just said to myself, like, I just need to take out probably the super heavy tank or the Ironclad, because once you get rid of like 2 or 3 of these models, then there's not much left in that list to do damage against me. And you know what? The drill was the one thing that we didn't kill till the very end, and the drill actually did a lot of work, right? The drill, I can't remember, the drill killed the Whirlwind, it killed a Redemptor Dreadnought, I think it killed some Sangori Guard as well, so the drill did a lot of work, but you know, taking out his super heavy and his I think we took out the Ironclad in turn 1 and we took out the super heavy in turn 2, so I think that alone won the game, right? Like, sure, the drill was able to go around and do work, but it was the the super heavy had to go. You know, getting rid of that was priority number one. And when that fell so early in the game, and I felt like I hadn't taken a huge amount of losses, I kind of thought to myself, like, I've picked secondaries here that I can score pretty reliably. So I kind of thought that maybe like the game was already won at that point. And I did make a couple of mistakes towards the end of the game, but I think it was probably that I was feeling confident that the game was kind of won, and maybe I wasn't like super try-harding anymore. Which is maybe the wrong, like, I maybe need to get more try-hard, like, and never, you know, don't give up any points ever and play till the absolute end of the game. I just don't see an Astraeus working well in 2K against a lot of matchups. Yeah, I think you're right. I think, you know, like, I've played that Iron Hands list when he ran, like, 2 Leviathans and a squad of Eradicators, and I honestly thought that was quite a bit scarier. So I said that to Andrew, you know, and maybe next time. But it was cool to see the Super Heavy in action, right? I haven't seen it in action for a while. I've never actually taken that much damage from the Super Heavy, because before when he ran it, I did the same thing where I deep striked and killed it, and he didn't actually manage to kill that much stuff with it. So this time at least he got first turn, he got to blow a few things off the board, and we got to see the full power of an Astraeus. But yeah, I think it's a difficult thing to run, because it's similar to the Falchion in a way. Like, you're kind of putting all your eggs in one basket, and you're saying, like, if you can kill the super heavy, I'll probably lose. But if you can't kill the super heavy, then it'll probably do a ton of damage every turn, and it'll probably set me up to a really high score to potentially win this game. And that's kind of where I think a super heavy is. Like, it's a bit of it's kind of like a Hail Mary in from American football, right? Like, I guess that's probably what I would call the super heavy. Hey Steve, how you doing? Good evening. According to you, but on flops in your list during the Iron Hands battle. Do you know what? I've been using that same list 7 games in a row now, and it's hard to put, like, you know, you ask about tops and flops, and like in the game against Iron Hands, the tops and flops were totally different to the game against Death Guard just a week earlier. But, you know, potentially. So I'll give you an example, right? This week in the Iron Hands game, my Death Company captain killed. I think he killed a tech. Like, he did all this on his own, right? He's a single Death Company captain on a bike with the Teeth of Terra. He killed 2 5-man infiltrator squads. So that's infiltrators 120 points. So that's 240 points. He killed a Primaris Tech Marine. I think a Primaris Tech Marine is about 100 points. Maybe 95. Let's say 90 points. But I think a regular Tech Marine's 80. So he killed a Tech Marine. So that's, let's say, 330 points. And then he did like 5 wounds to the Astraeus as well. So this week, my Death Company captain on a bike, basically, you know, he's a 130 point model. He killed about 400 points worth of stuff on his own. He was all over the board. He was great. Really enjoyed him. Felt like I got a lot of value out of the Death Company captain this week. However, last week in the game we won against Death Guard, he actually didn't attack anything the entire game. He went around the board. He claimed objectives. He advanced a couple of times, and yeah, he literally I don't even think he got in combat with anything, right? So it's hard to put on a single game whether a unit is providing value or not, right? Because after that game against the Death Guard, I was like, wow, my Death Company captain did nothing this game. And the only reason, like, I didn't change up my list, I guess, is because I was on this winning streak with the list, and I wanted to just keep going and figure out more and more what this list can actually do, and figure out more strengths and weaknesses. So this is why I think when you lose a game with a list, you should probably play it at least one more time and be like, unless you're sure that it's a shit list, right? But if you're not sure, you know, because in that situation, maybe in another day I would drop the Death Company captain and be like, Death Company captain did nothing this game, I'm going to drop him. I don't know if I got value out of him. Because, like, literally in the very next game, he does 400 points of killing on his own. He's all over the map everywhere. He's getting really core situational kills, because we had to kill the Tech Marine in that game against the Iron Hands, or the Super Heavy would have had its basically duty eternal in turn 2, right? So the Death Company captain on the bike being able to zoom around and get those big 14-inch movements 100% facilitated that, and it was great. So it's hard. I've been saying the same thing about Centurions a couple of times, because it was like, oh, my Centurions, they've done nothing in this game, or oh, the Centurions really were weak in this game. But like in another game, I think the Centurions got into combat once and absolutely destroyed the Tyranids when they were in combat with them. And meanwhile, the Centurions were taking like a lot of fire, so it was like he was trying to kill the Centurions. I'd use the healer to res one back alive. So it's like, it's really hard to say on a single game, this was the best unit. Because on the very next game, it could be like, oh, that unit, you know, there was a reason that that unit was included in the list. Just for this one game, it didn't quite work out how we had planned, but it's actually still a very important thing to have in the list, I guess. So hopefully that answers the question, Toxic. Isn't it true that Dark Angels are by far the best Space Marine chapter? Weapon of the Dark Angels seems super scary. I don't know if Dark Angels are the best chapter. I'm not gonna agree to that. I'm gonna say that regardless of what state Blood Angels are in on the tabletop, I think Blood Angels are the best chapter. I think used right, we can always get wins. So it's just a case of knowing your opponent, knowing your strengths yourself, and see what you can come up with. I'm having no problem getting wins with Blood Angels, and apparently we're bottom of tier 2, you know? Turning off Overwatch 2, could 2 squads of suppressors not cover the same job as the Whirlwind on an even wider scale, or is the LOS requirement a deal breaker? I don't think it's the Overwatch that always helps. I think it's the fight last is just as important as the Overwatch decks. So, and suppressors only suppress infantry units, right? So I'd probably disagree. Like, I have 6 suppressors and I've got a bunch of them painted, but like I just think the Whirlwind is the more solid and consistent choice. Because sometimes you're not worried about Overwatch. You know, like against Tyranids last week, they, you know, all their monsters were melee. So we weren't worried about Overwatch at all, but we still got great value out of the suppression fire from the Whirlwind, in that like his big nasty monsters, if they wanted to fight me, they were going to have to get hit by like 10 Sangre Guard or like 5 Blade Guard veterans before they got to fight, which is important. Can you link the Plastic Crackhead channel? Yeah, so crack is spelled K-R-A-K for the Plastic Crackheads. Been reading Devastation of Baal to glean some details about Baal and the bases for my custom chapter. And there's little or no detail besides the sand is red there. Yeah, there's some great texture paint. I'm trying to think, but I've seen some great models done on red texture paint. But I'm pretty sure there's a Games Workshop texture paint that is red. Maybe someone in chat can answer that. Unfortunately, I do all my bases on brown. Yeah, I do think just sort of like there's a texture paint that splits as well, and I think that looks super dope for red bases. You know, like the Mars style bases, and I'd probably just go with some sort of Mars style bases similar to what you'd see on like AdMech. I reckon that would be pretty cool. And I'm pretty sure there is a texture paint for that you can just buy, and it makes those cracked bases when it dries. I actually don't know how you would finish them because I don't do them myself, but someone in chat or someone in the Discord or Facebook group would definitely be able to help. Highland's saying that the Whirlwind is far superior. Maybe you all know something I don't. I don't know Shadow. 7 games in a row is the blessed Nurgle number. Yeah, 7 games is. Unfortunately, we don't. Well, I was going to say unfortunately we don't follow Nurgle. It's probably pretty fortunate. But yeah, I hear you. I hate painting these rims around their feet sometimes. It's so difficult to see in and then not make a mess of the other bits you've already painted, like the gold or the base. I'm always on board for artillery use. I was just curious to suppressors. Yeah, I mean, I think just go with the whirlwind. Like, do you know what? The suppressors auto cannons are not going to do all that much damage either. I mean, they'll do something, but they're only -1 AP, so yeah. I mean, I think the whirlwind's cheap enough where you can afford to pay the 125 points and just use it as that denial of Overwatch, the denial of fight first, and I think that's all it needs to be. And also, it can hold a backfield objective pretty well. You can try and deploy it concealed or obscured. So I think yeah, I think I would just take the whirlwind. Not. Whenever I start running suppressors, I will let you know. But for the moment, I don't think they're that good. I mean, they're a lot less wounds as well. I mean, I guess they have some range, but yeah, I feel like on average you're going to probably end up making the enemy make a couple of saves per turn from suppressors. And then they're going to fail like 1 or 2 maximum. So, and then you can't turn the infantry off, the Overwatch off in the tanks and stuff. So yeah, it's just not good for me. There's a few Blood Angels base videos that might have some insight. He's a good painter he's good at painting a mental picture. I gotta say I was skeptical about the Assault Centurions at first, but optimistic. However, I think they're proving to be a really classy choice. Not strictly the most competitive, but good. Do you know what? I have some issues with the Assault Centurions, right? They're super slow, and that's my main issue with them, I guess. Probably, like, their 5-inch move. And I was thinking that, like, there are other units that can provide pretty similar things to the Centurions, right? Like, we could do a squad of Terminators, and then the difference would be we could start the Terminators in teleport strike, essentially. So rather than wasting 2 turns, like, dawdling across the map, the Terminators could just appear in turn 2 or something where they need to be, and then potentially shoot or make a charge. So, I think Centurions models are dope. And I think the flat 3 damage from their drills is pretty dope as well, but I am thinking that the list might be stronger if it was just a squad of Terminators with Stormbolters and like Chain Fists. So we still have that important 3 damage up against vehicles. Chain Fists are still D3, a lot of things got normalized to like a flat 2 damage. But I guess if you come up against Death Guard or something, the Chain Fists will be generally pretty good because they're D3 and sometimes you'll roll the 3. And you won't lose anything if you roll the 1, right? Because the -1 damage makes no difference if it's already just 1 damage. So, I'm not 100% sold on the Centurions. I mean, I really love how the models came out. The colours and the look and the transfers and everything. I like everything about them. I just don't like how slow they are. So I may make a change to my list, but I'm not making any changes right now. Not until we get to not till the list loses, or we get to 10 wins in a row. And then I'll make a change, and then we'll basically, if we get to 10 wins in a row, we'll make a change, and then we'll start another list, and we'll aim to go 10 wins in a row again. We'll see. Thanks for hanging out, Zacharias. Appreciate. You're more welcome. Riziel says I would rank Dark Angels at the apex of competitive Marines for now. don't waste your money on GW paints, use Vallejo ground textures. I mean, I guess some people definitely don't like the GW paints. I just tend to use them. Agree on Blood Angels, Assault Centurions. I don't dislike them in the list. Perhaps competitively, Vanguard Veterans or Sanguinary Guard would be more effective. It's an interesting one. Yeah, I mean, the one thing to say about the Centurions that we aren't talking about is a lot of people target them, right? Like, a lot of people are scared of 16 D3 or 16 flat 3 damage drills in the face. And I think we saw that up against the Tyranids, right? Because we got in combat with the Hive Guard, and in one round of combat we killed 5 of them from full health. And I don't even think that was just 2 Centurions, right? I was gonna say I don't think I rolled very well, but no, I think I rolled fine. I think it was just 2 Centurions. So if the whole Centurions squad was available, then potentially, you know, they can just about delete anything they end up in combat with. So the one thing that we're not talking about here that I think is important to say, and I think one of the reasons that the Centurions are interesting is people will shoot the Centurions, and I guess, like, we've even seen people prioritize killing the Centurions over, like, the Sanguinary Guard and stuff, right? Because Sanguinary Guard do 2 damage, especially against the Death Guard, right? It's like, oh, well, Sanguinary Guard are a bit weaker now, so, like, people will genuinely actually target and try and kill the Centurions, which I'm kind of okay with, right? Like, because they're toughness 5 and they're 2-up save, and if they don't all die, we'll just resurrect one and they're 55 points a model, and it's a lot to be resurrecting each turn. So yeah, the Centurions are a really weird one, right? Like, I just wanted them, and I've wanted them probably ever since I flicked open the Space Marine Codexes years ago and was like, oh, Centurions, these guys look cool, can we have them as Blood Angels? No, you can't have them. I'm like, oh, I really like the look of them though, and like, they're just big, crazily armoured, walking mini dreadnoughts or something, I guess. And I was just like, but I want them for my Blood Angels. But I do think, like, I have thought, to myself that it might be better to just take a 5-man squad of Terminators, and then we can deep strike in. You know, we still have the limited movement, but 5 Terminators, they have 15 wounds. 3 Centurions only have 12 wounds. So what they lack in the additional toughness, they probably make up for the fact that they have an invulnerable save, and that the Terminators have the Crux Terminatus, and they have slightly more wounds. They are slightly more points, but yeah, I think because the way I've been playing it is I've been using the Blade Guard Veterans and the Centurions to hold the middle of the board. So I think you could do that with a squad of Terminators. And I guess if the squad of Terminators have Stormbolters, then you're probably going to average similar damage to the Flamers that you get from the Centurions, because the Stormbolters have the 24-inch range on Terminators. You can rapid fire at maximum range, so you have that against like the shorter range and the D6 randomness of the Centurion Flamers. And if they do have Chain Fists, and I think they do similar amounts of damage, it's a tough one, and I don't know. That's why I'm thinking. Yeah, and I guess you're right. Terminators have Fury of the First, and Terminators have Core, right? And Centurions obviously don't have Core, so the Terminators would have other advantages if they're around the middle and there's Core and stuff. And Terminators are still 38 points a model, right? So like, if you did end up resurrecting one, it'd probably still be pretty valuable. I mean, it's not quite as valuable as resurrecting a Centurion, but it's still valuable. So yeah, it's an interesting dilemma, isn't it? And so probably I have a lot to paint at the moment. Like, I'm trying to finish these Blade Guard Veterans. A lot to do with these guys. And then I have 5 Vanguard Veterans and a few Sanguinary Guard with swords to paint. Like, maybe let's say 5. So I've got I've got 10 more models to paint for the current list. And the Dreadnought, one of the Dreadnoughts is almost finished, or the second Dreadnought's almost finished. Hoping going to finish it this weekend. And then the Whirlwind to finish as well. So I guess I've got like these 7 infantry plus another 10 infantry plus the Dreadnought in the Whirlwind. So it's probably like 600-700 points, maybe even slightly more. But whenever I finish that, I think I'm going to go on and paint 5 Terminators with chain fists. Actually, maybe I'll paint slightly more. Maybe we'll paint 6 or something, and we'll do an assault cannon in there to give us some options. And then from that, we could maybe think about making some slight changes to this list. The only way I could free up the points, though, to get the Terminators, I think, is to the only way to get the points would be to drop the attack bikes, so it would mean switching from attack bikes to Eradicators or something, because I think Eradicators are like 30 points cheaper than attack bikes. So if we switch that, we basically need 25 points to fit the Terminators in. So we could get rid of the attack bikes, we could add Eradicators, and then we could get rid of the Centurions and take the Terminators. Maybe. I think Highland Phoenix needs to get on Discord. I don't know why he's not on Discord, to be honest, but he should be. Oh, you're welcome, Mark. Thanks for tuning in. In 2 days, I will have a tournament on TTS testing out a Blade Guard as frontline and 250 Gladiator as heavy support, running the Scramblers and Blade of Sanguinius secondaries. Personally, I wouldn't pick your secondaries before you even know what you're playing against, but that's just my opinion. But, I mean, good luck in your tournament, Light Gemini. Blade Guard are amazing if you can run them in squads of like 5, and you can use Transhuman on them for 1 CP. I think you can get tremendous value out of them for that. And then, I haven't actually ran a Gladiator myself. I think I've just been staying away from armor in general. This in 9th edition, and I guess I don't know why they didn't make any of the armor core, but like a lot of my strategy revolves around using my chapter master to make like my shooting much better in the early turns, be it the Dreadnoughts or be it the attack bikes with multi-meltas. And yeah, it's just weird that they, you know, all the vehicles didn't get core. So I mean, let me know how you get on with the Gladiator for sure. Which Gladiator is it? Is it the Reaper that you're running? You like your Librarian in the middle, you could cast the Veil on the Terminators, which would be good. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. We could use Veil on the Terminators. But yeah, I need to yeah, I mean, I might get another tournament booked, but for the moment, the first tournament I'm going to is in November. So we definitely got time to win 3 more games on this list and then make a change. And I think when we make the change, we'll probably drop the Death Company captain, and we'll probably replace him with the Librarian Dreadnought. So we'll run 2 Librarians. We'll run the Librarian with the jump pack, and we'll run the Librarian in Terminator armor. So once I finish painting those 20 odd guys that I mentioned before, what I need to do then is paint a Librarian with a jump pack, finish painting my Librarian Dreadnought, and then finish painting a 5-man squad of Terminators with Stormbolters, maybe actually we'll paint 6, like I said. So we paint an assault cannon and then paint 3 eradicators, which I've got the eradicators with 3 colors on them because I thought I was going to be using them in this list, but I actually changed back to the attack bikes. So yeah, and then if we do all that, then that maybe is the next list. I just don't really want to be playing too many games with unpainted models on the channel at the moment. So, and there's a catch-22 for me because I spend a lot of my time each week making YouTube videos. So the time that I spend making YouTube videos, we could be painting, but we're making the YouTube content, so it takes me a little bit longer. I'd love to see some Terminators in action. My list is quite a few of them. You need the glorious attack bikes. You know what? I do love the attack bikes, man. I've had those attack bikes since like 3rd edition or something. You know that? And they used to... There was a time in like 3rd edition when they were really, really strong. I think it was back when like... vehicles had like front armor and side armor and all that nonsense, because you could use the attack bikes really cleverly to just like zoom round and then be like, right, I'm going to hit your back armor, or I'm going to hit your front armor, and it was sorry, your side armor, and it was like, I genuinely really like the attack bikes. So I've had those ones forever, and they don't have the greatest paint job on them because I did it like a long time ago, but yeah, I just generally love them. Such a fun model. They always used to do well for me back in the day as well. But yeah, I don't know what else I could drop. Like if I want to drop the Death Company Captain, fit in a Librarian Dreadnought, I need to find like, I think the Death Company Captain's 130 and the Librarian Dreadnought's 155, so I need to find 25 points there. And then if we wanted to include Terminators over Centurions, I need to find another 20 points, or another 25, so it's like I need to find 50 points. And I don't really want to drop the bikes to just a 2-man squad. I think that'd be quite a bit weaker, because quite often on the 3-man squad we're able to make a revival or a combat revival, right? Whereas like on a 2-man squad, I don't know if we would get that often. So like I'm reluctant to make the bikes a 2-man squad for sure. Could you not reduce your blade guard down? I mean, we could take the blade guard down to 3. That gives us 35 points. But then we still need 15 more. I mean, I don't suppose I would be super against bringing the blade guard down. It would be nice to have another unit that starts the battle in Deep Strike typically as well. You know, like those Terminators with their Stormbolters. You could even use them to bring them down to maybe clear some space through weaker units as well when you need your Vanguard veterans to arrive. So there could certainly be something to that. Just not 100% sure what it is yet. I miss armor facings. Yeah, I mean, I miss some of the old rules, but I'll tell you what I don't miss is how long the games used to take. Like, I don't know if we ever finished a game in a day. Like, quite often the models just got left overnight and stuff. Things took forever back then. flamers on the Redemptors and no Icarus rocket pods. So I have no Icarus rocket pods on either Redemptor right now, and one already has a flamer. And again, it's just points cost based. I did want to. I mean, if we drop a Blade Guard veteran, sure we can bring the Librarian Dreadnought. We can put the Onslaught Cannon back on the one of the Redemptors, which I think would actually be nice since they buffed the Onslaught Cannon to heavy 8. It's quite a bit better, I think. So there, I guess that would be one Blade Guard veteran would let us do that. But then we still need to find 25 points to get the 5-man squad of Terminators over the 3-man squad of Centurions. I guess the Centurions are quite cheap because I didn't put Hurricane Bolters or anything on them, right? I just made them to try and get into melee combat and smash you in the face with their drills, which are strength 10, -4, and a D... No, not a D3 at all, just a flat 3. Do you know what I've just realised is these guys' cloaks go up over their chest bit, and I only painted up to their waist because I'm an idiot. I'm running Gladiator Valiant, 2 squads of 5 Blade Guard with a Saguary Priest resurrecting them on Chalice Overflow. I mean, it sounds pretty nice. I'm not so sure about the Gladiator. I don't like it because it's got no invulnerable save, but given your recent rolls, you could drop some Infernal Pistols. Yeah, I think I missed 3 Infernal Pistols at point blank range in a row, did I? Do you know what? Check this, right? This is a Games Workshop brush. Do you see how wrecked that... Someone posted about this. Like, I have used this for like 5 hours. Tops. 5 hours tops. And this is the state of this brush. This is an Element Games brush, right? That I've used for like 500 hours. Like, what is that? You know? And this is why unfortunately these seem to be out of stock at the moment and I can't get some, but I really want to buy some. Next time they come back in stock, I am buying some. Probably buy like 2 or 3, but yeah, these brushes are like cheaper than the Games Workshop ones and they last like 100 times longer. Like, it's like 100 times is not even an exaggeration. But yeah, this Games Workshop brush is so split and such a mess after like 5 hours. It's disgusting. Like, what a waste of money, but it's the only brush that I could get my hands on. And like, even when you dampen the bristles, it's still... It's... You know, it's just tragic. I actually have some synthetic brushes that I bought on Amazon, and they're like £1 each, and honestly they last just... I'd probably say they last... yeah, they're £1 a brush. Unfortunately, I don't think you can get... You can't get them in like a pack where they're all like size 0, right? So it's annoying because you have to like buy them in like a multi-pack. But you get like 10 brushes for like £7, and honestly, I think they're more accurate and they last longer than these GW brushes. And this is one of the cheaper GW like layer brushes, so maybe it's understandable that it's not the greatest. But I have spent like £12 or £13 on an Artificer brush from GW before. And it's the same thing, like you spend this money and you're like expecting it to last a while, but like it just doesn't. GW brushes belong in the dumpster, says Steve. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it. I only bought it, Steve, because it was actually with the... What was it? The Dark Pariah. Like, I'd ordered Dark Pariah, and in my basket I'd put some Element Games brushes, and they mailed me and said, like, hey, Dark Pariah is in stock, but you're not going to get your order for a few weeks because the Element Games brushes aren't available. I might actually just put in an order of Element Games brushes tonight, even if I don't have the money for it, because by the time they come in stock, I'll need them. And I said, all right, is there something similar you could give me at the same sort of price? And they were like, well, we could give you this GW brush. And I was like, yeah, I just want another brush, so give me it. And what it turns out is that this Element Games brush with 500 odd hours painted, which I think is probably, like, my paint sessions are usually 2 to 3 hours. When I sit down and paint, it's about the time that I do a live stream, like from like 10 o'clock till midnight. So it's 2-3 hours, and I'm not really washing the brush at all during that time. So some paint will definitely get dried up inside the bristles and stuff, and I'm not overly gentle with my paint or anything like that, and I know you're never supposed to push your bristles against the model, right? You're always supposed to brush like towards yourself so you don't damage the bristles, but like if it's a difficult part on the model and that I can't get in it, I'll just brush whatever way I can, right? So like I'm not taking super great care of these brushes, but 500 hours versus 5, and this one is honestly it's more accurate, it's easier to make less mistakes. It's kind of disgusting. I've been using the Pro Art white nylon brushes, and they last way better than the GW ones, and they only cost a couple of quid. Pro Art white nylon, where are you getting... I definitely, like, if there's brushes that we can try for a couple of quid, I want to know about them. So if you're not in their Discord, Adam, come join our Discord after the stream. Tag me on it. My name's just Blood Angels Commander on there. And link me where you're buying these brushes. Because if they're only a couple of quid and they last better, and I am needing some new brushes until Element Games get theirs back in stock. And painting with that GW one is just... honest. So basically two paint sessions, and that's that brush over. I think this brush that I'm using now has painted like 11 Vanguard Veterans, 10 Assault Intercessors, 4 characters, and I think 10 Infiltrators as well. So that, and based on the fact that it usually takes me like 6 weeks to paint a squad or something, then this brush is definitely... It's definitely like, if it's not 500 hours, it must be at least a couple of hundred. GW brushes equal Death Company. Just buy synthetic brushes. Sure, Sable is all the rage, but unless you're a Golden Demon winner, there's not much difference. Yeah, I mean, I have some synthetic brushes behind me, Nextron. And I actually got recommended them by another YouTuber, and they've been fine. I just don't know, like, I just need size 0 brushes. So if you know where you can get size 0 synthetic ones, I'd be happy to buy like 10 of them based on the prices, But yeah, I'm definitely no Golden Demon winner, that's for sure. Do you use brush soap? Yeah. I use brush soap after every session. I think I think that's why these Element Games ones last so well, the brush soap. But yeah, I think the Games Workshop brushes are just kind of crap. You buy the name, not the quality, when you go on GW products. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's not so true of the models and stuff, but definitely seems true of the brushes, right? I use my GW brushes for mixing paint and texture because they're already a mess. I mean, yeah, I used GW starter brushes before for like using them on the bases, right? I got a few out of those Conquest magazines, but yeah, I mean, they're kind of tragic as well. They don't last any time hardly. Go check out Vince Ventura's Hobby Cheating series and look for brush care and or best brushes. Sent you a link. Alright, thank you very much. Yeah, send me a link and I'll pick up some more. Good evening, Roadkill, how you doing? If you have range store nearby, they have Winston & Newton Cotman brushes for about £3 and they're actually surprisingly nice and relatively durable. I do not have a range store, I don't know where that is. Army Painter has Mega Brush Bundle and has a great selection of brushes, and there's plenty of detail brushes, even a really tiny one called the Psycho Brush or something, and it's great for eyes. I did hear about the Psycho Brush, but I've never owned one myself. I actually have an Artist Opal brush that I used for like faces and eyes, and it's got a really... I've been impressed with those Artist Opal brushes as well, and I have used them. I was able to buy the last box of Centurions at my store. Nice. So how are you arming the Centurions, brother? Flamers, I do not have the points for Meltas. Yeah, that's kind of how I went with them, and I just didn't think I would have the points for the Meltas. They're cool models though, the Centurions. I always wanted them ever since I first saw them. I kind of want to get another 3 just to make them with the Meltas, so that maybe one day in the future I have the options. I feel kind of sad they didn't make them core as well, you know that? But, I mean, I guess it is what it is. Some units just didn't get core. I found a set of cheap brushes, 8 for £8, different sizes admittedly, but I found them to be fine and I'm using them right now in my Achilles. I'll link you in Discord. Yeah, the set I found was synthetic, and it had like a size 3 and a size 0 or a size 1, and it would, if it had just had all those, it would have been perfect, but it had a lot of other random sizes and bits and bobs in there that I couldn't really use. Alright, we're going to get out a little bit of gold paint. We're going to clean up a couple of little mistakes we made tonight. And then I think we're going to have to head to bed because I'm pretty tired. But I do have a new video coming out tomorrow. I'll show you. Let me think. Thumbnails. Do I have it? Oh, I don't know what I did with it. Okay. Well, I guess you'll see it tomorrow. Can they be magnetized? I might do that. I'm not sure how easy it would be to magnetize the weapons. I mean, it might not be too bad, actually. I mean, you can magnetize the... what am I trying to say? You can magnetize the Hurricane Bolters / assault launchers without too much work, because I did that. Good evening, Scott. Maybe I said that already. I am, yeah. My eyes are, well, at least this eye is starting to go foggy, so it's bedtime very, very soon for me. Just going to make a couple of little adjustments on mistakes that we made over this gold. Oh, that's a bit much paint. Worth noting, size is different between manufacturers. Size 0 isn't the same universally. There's sometimes not even uniform between ranges within a brand. I did not know that. Way, you got the free arm for your Leviathan. Nice, man. Congrats on sticking it to them, I guess. How difficult was it? How many emails did you have to send them, or what ended up happening? But I'm really glad to hear you got it sorted. I would have been a bit crappy if they'd made you buy another one when it seemed like it was their mistake. Or at least had to maybe pay postage on another one when it was their mistake. The great armed debacle of 2021, yeah. I've never heard of them putting an item on the order sheet that was like lost within the basket, though. It sounded pretty crazy. Yeah, some of these these single pose guys are pretty difficult to get in to. I mean, he's just holding his sword over this armor panel, which is a real pain. when I'm making my own guys like Death Company or something that's like custom, I always try and pose them so that if you're going to make them first, you can at least come back and paint the areas, like try and pose them where they're like not holding their shield right close next to their body, or they're not holding it over some other bit of detail, because it can just make the next step, like the painting step, like quite a bit more challenging and or annoying, I guess. Only took 3 emails and they gave in. I told them that I would even pay for the armor, just not the shipping, because they gave it to me for no cost. I mean, that's nice. The customer is always right, Steve, so you proved that you were right, and it's really nice to hear that they sorted you out. They're pretty good at replacing parts. I had 2 parts miscast on an Orc Meba bomber. I emailed them to get a replacement for those 2 and they just sent me a whole kit. Oh, that's pretty nice. I was going to say that sounds pretty lucky. I was going to say I haven't been lucky and had any mess ups with my guys, so I haven't been sent any free kits. I suppose it can be quite frustrating though if you've waited or you've taken time off work or something to build a kit and then there's some sort of problem with it. Could be pretty frustrating. Alright, it's just hitting midnight and I am tired. Yeah, I mean, I think Blade Guard are great. Like, I think that the Duty Eternal makes them really great as well. Like, it puts them... Not Duty Eternal, sorry. Transhuman seems to put them on another level, honestly. I mean, it's the one reason that I'm including them over, like... Because I like Vanguard Vets, I really do. I like them a lot with Lightning Claws. They're a go-to of my models. I actually have 20 Vanguard Veterans. But the only reason that we take the Blade Guard, I think, is the Transhuman. I just think it gives them another... It just gives them an extra dimension, it feels like. And I guess once your opponent knows that you're going to transhuman them, because I think sometimes you guys question maybe what Andrew does when we're battling, but I think Andrew knows what I'm going to do to most extent. So he sometimes tries to do something that like will throw me off, or maybe is unexpected because he thinks it's a good strategy to get wins against me, which probably is, because. Like I tend to, like, I think just this week Andrew was like, hey John, have you got CP for interrupting? And I was like, yes. I am constantly keeping 2 CP against you, Andrew, for key interrupts, because I know that when we get to do combat, if we can interrupt, we can do a ton of damage, so it's important that I have the CP for that. So in some ways it's like your opponent and you try and use that a little bit against them. In fairness, GW are good on this. Years ago I painted a Devastator squad, sprayed the varnish over them and it ruined them, but was faulty, and they sent me a new squad and a new varnish. Good night, Commander. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, Roadkill. Nice to see you. Thanks, Christian. We are just we're always working on something cool. Lot to do on this guy, or a lot to do on all these blade guards, but they will be cool when they are done. That's for sure. I was going to say we'd probably come back on Saturday night and paint some more blade guard. How many more sessions before those guys are finished? Let's say 10. I reckon 10 more sessions, 10 more 2 hours, 20 more hours on these guys. They might not be finished, but they'll be pretty damn close, I would think. I am very, very slow at painting. I've been waiting for my Blood Angels commands since the end of January. Do you mean your codex or your cards? But yeah, no, okay. We're going to call it a night there, guys. I think we might be back to... If you guys want to see me play Dawn of War tomorrow night, drop me a message in Discord, because I don't have any plans for tomorrow night, so... I could easily do a Dawn of War stream if that's something you guys want to see. And yeah, Saturday night, there will be, there's a new tactics video out tomorrow around lunchtime, and then Saturday night we're definitely doing Hobby Hangout. Sunday we have our live army show, and then on Monday we are battling Eldar this week, and I've got the list for Eldar, so I can share that with you guys in the next day or so. So have a great night, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It's been fun hanging out. Hope you enjoyed some of the Blade Guard work. And yeah, Resdiel did make free Blood Angels cards in Discord, so you could definitely check those out as well. Maybe we should use some of those on the stream, actually. Would you have a problem with us using those on the stream, Resdiel? Did you make it? What all did you make? Did you make all the cards, or did you make Psychic Powers as well? I can't remember. That might give the stream a bit of character. We'll have to see. Alright, yeah, take it easy, guys. Hopefully speak to you all soon. Hope you enjoy tomorrow's tactics video. It's about the Vindicator Laser Destroyer, and a few people have wanted to see that video. So, definitely check that out as well tomorrow. And, alright, we'll speak to you all soon. By the blood are we made. Peace.